Hey everybody! I was recently a guest on the Simpsons Index, a podcast where they look at 3 episodes, one from each decade, and then they rate them. And I kinda hit the jackpot, getting the opportunity to discuss 3 very unique episodes of The Simpsons. We've got Season 6's A Star's Burns, featuring quite possibly the most artistic short film ever created. Then we've got Season 23's Bart Stops to Smell the Roosevelts, which is literally the only Superintendent Chalmers spotlight episode. And we've got Season 18's... Oh no! Yes, they invited one of the internet's foremost Selma shippers to talk about her marriage to Grandpa. Team Selmo for life. I provided a link below, or you can find it on the usual podcast services. Here's an excerpt from the show.
No, and it lacked stakes going into it as well. It's, again, this episode sort of has skerricks of good ideas, and I thought Selma and Grandpa getting together over a mutual hatred of Homer is kind of interesting, but they didn't really hit on that enough either.
Well, they initially got together over a mutual interest in lemon candies.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was going to say, we've criticized the HD era, well, no, this isn't even HD, is it? It's teens. Jeez.
It's getting there. Only, 2 years away from...
But we've criticized the latter era for a lack of Foley and just kind of being very empty sounding. But no, the Foley they get is a lot of mouth sounds. Thank God.
Yeah, that's the most I think I've ever wanted to hear Selma and Grandpa chewing for the rest of my life.
Oh, it's 3 times as much for me.
Enough for 3 lifetimes.
Oh, it's just so, because especially doing podcasts, I've had to yell at guests for, not snacking while we're doing records and stuff. And it's just, they're leading into those sounds and they're gross.
Mouths.
You can almost picture, the writers trying to decide what would Grandpa and Selma talk about if they were in a room together. And I think they were right to lean into how awkward it is, because these are both fairly awkward, kind of grumpy characters. But I could have done with a lot less of the mouth sounds.
Yes.
Just a lifetime's worth, not 3 times worth. 3 lifetimes worth.
Yeah. Well, look, this episode felt short as well. And moments like this where the joke is how far they can extend it are that much more egregious in, this era of Teens era episode where, the runtime is 19 minutes or something. But what stands out to me, for better or worse, it'd probably be the bit where Homer cheated on Marge.
Yeah, this was weird. Their elaborate plan to break up Grandpa and... God, I can't talk today. In their elaborate plan to break up Patty and... No, Selma and Grandpa.
You're getting there.
I know. Homer and Patty make out, and it's nope, this would never happen.
Wait a minute, that wasn't Homer, that was Esteban de la Sex Face.
My apologies.
That means Stephen of the Sex Face. I did like that joke.
Yep.
Oh, and I kind of liked Homer still using the character to roleplay at the end.
Yeah.
But, of course, he takes it too far and then...
I do kind of like the joke of him writing himself out of the roleplay by accident.
Yeah.
There's a joke behind there, but it just kind of went on a bit too much.
But, what annoyed me, again, it's this episode's lack of anything, is that this is the moment that causes friction. And, Homer and Patty get found out, and then, chaos ensues. But they're no, we're just going to gloss over that.
Yep.
Doesn't matter that Homer was making out with his sister-in-law. Whatever.
Who he hates and has always hated.
Yeah.
Which, ironically, that's not supposedly the first kiss he's ever had with Patty either. Because they had that one flashback episode where they're in camp, where they supposedly kissed at the end of that one.
That's right.
Yeah.
When Homer was going under another pseudonym, Elvis Jagger Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, yeah. Now that you mention it, there is kind of a lack of, organization with the plot, because they do have this wacky scheme with Homer and Patty in the middle, and it's so brief, but it ends up eating up a lot of time with the Selma Grandpa stuff later, so I kind of wish they would have just decided either, 1, cut out the Homer wacky scheme and focus on the Grandpa Selma stuff, or 2, make the whole episode about how Patty and Homer hate this relationship, and maybe you don't have to go all the way to a marriage. But the way they did it, they kind of got 2 shallow versions of both of those plots.
No, exactly, and that's what makes this episode feel like stuff happens, because there's, little to no connective tissue between its own plot beats.
Yeah, because the setting up of the Homer-Patty plan takes longer than the execution or the consequences of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play count. Have you seen this episode before?
No.
Really?
No.
First time?
No.
No? How about you, Jims?
I think I've seen it once or twice.
I weirdly feel like I've seen the box story like 5 times, but yeah, barely remember the grandpa story. And I don't know if it's because I've seen this episode 5 times or just how little impact that side of the story has.
When this episode came on, I completely forgot this was the Box Fort episode until I saw the Disney Plus thumbnail. And when I saw it, I was like, yes, this is the Box Fort episode. I was kind of excited.
The thumbnails can deceive. Sometimes they reveal the smaller B plots. Damn you, Disney.
But in the correct aspect ratio now.
Yes, finally. Actually, yeah, Jims, this is the first episode we're watching on streaming in its correct aspect ratio.
Boy, you sure did pick a good one.
Didn't we just?
Yes, finally, 4-3 Simpsons. I'm going to watch season 18's Romeo Old and Juli-Eh.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Simpsons Index for having me on their show, and I'll see you all in the next video. And I promise, this next one won't have anything to do with Grandpa. At this point, he deserves a break.